Newstalk Breakfast with Ciara Kelly and Shane Coleman.
In association with AIR
On Newstalk.
Now, the golden age of America has begun. That's according to the new US President, Donald Trump. He's officially returned to the White House. He made his aspirations for his second run pretty clear at his inaugural address yesterday. I caught up with Amy Tarkanian, former Nevada Republican state chairwoman and Republican strategist, a little bit earlier. I began by asking her what she made of President Trump's speech.
Well, it wasn't surprising. He came out in Trump style and actually lambasted the outgoing administration with them only sitting feet away, laid out all of the areas where he thought were problematic. And then I thought he brilliantly went into his extremely lengthy list of possible executive orders that he would be signing in the next 24 to 48 hours. And they were the ways that he was going to fix a number of those problems that he had pointed out under the Biden administration. And I think it was wise of him to do so because we're now hearing it's going to be upwards of 200 or more executive orders. And so it's important for the public to understand that these changes are going to be happening quite swift. We already see now there's reports. One of his campaign promises was to close the border and to secure the border and to stop illegal immigration flow coming through. And that's already starting. And the Border Patrol app that the Biden administration had put together for immigrants to log into has already been shut down. And so it's happening quicker than you can blink on these changes. And so it is one reason why he was elected and elected so handily, because people are tired of not feeling safe, feeling that they've been gaslighted, taken advantage of, and that they haven't been prioritized.
Is it possible, for example, to end illegal immigration regardless of what you might want to do? Is that actually possible? And could it be a problem for Trump at a later point if he doesn't deliver on that? Sure.
Well, as I mentioned, they've already shut down the border. They've shut down the Biden app for them to register. And so I think that's a good start because now they need to regroup. He did say that he's going to reinstate Remain in Mexico policy. So that way individuals have to wait their turn, but wait their turn for their appointment in Mexico, not over here, and then get lost in the shuffle. You have the incoming border czar, Tom Homan, who this will be the 7th administration that he served under. So it's been bipartisan for him. And he actually in an interview stated that under President Biden, he was the first president that he served that did not follow the rule of law when it came to the border. And that we have roughly, he guessed, 700,000 illegal immigrants with criminal records that are not in jail, but they're roaming our streets. So that's what they're going to start targeting first. So they're sending out a pretty strong message.
The reversal of energy measures, energy restrictions brought in by the previous president, talking about drilling for much more oil and gas. Is that something you yourself favour?
Yes. And actually, he's also mentioned getting rid of the regulations on, the mandate on electric vehicles, getting rid of the Green New Deal, getting back out of the Paris Climate Accord, making sure that, the people who do the offshore drilling are still being able to move forward and retrieve what he calls liquid gold. So that way America can go ahead and benefit from our natural resources.
Just one other thing I did want to ask you about the official policy of 2 genders only, ending federal diversity programs. Your reaction to that?
Sure, that's going to cause some waves, that's for sure. Getting rid of DEI is going to be life-changing because you had members of our military that had to sit through hours and hours upon training instead of actually being focused on things that matter, like keeping us safe. So I don't think most people care what your gender is, who you love, what your religious affiliation is. When you need help, you just want somebody who's well equipped and ready to go.
Do you yourself believe this will be a golden era for America, as Donald Trump is promising?
Well, from watching his first term, it started out extremely hopeful and then ended up pretty chaotic. And it was disappointing in the very end. So I would like to give him grace. And I hope that he's actually learned. He's had to learn things the hard way. And I would hope that for the sake of our nation, for the sake of the world, that things are going to be even more exceptional and he's improved. I'm praying, but he's a tough one to crack. So time will tell if he actually is somebody who's willing to listen much better than he did the first term, or if he just continues down the same path of self-sabotage, so to speak.
And very finally, what would you say to assuage those of us not who are not American, who worry about the impact he will have on the world? If you're living in Greenland, or if you're living in Panama, or you're living in Europe, what would you say? Or the Ukraine, for example, what would you say? Are we right to be concerned?
No, I think we're going to be fine. I think the fact that we've seen now, it's already been relayed in multiple media outlets, that it was very clear. For example, the 3 hostages that were just released from Gaza to Israel, that deal would not have happened if President Trump had not been involved. And so I think that's extremely promising. The fact that he has stated he does not want to get involved in wars. He wants to end wars. He doesn't want to enter any new wars. And so we have somebody who is clearly going to do his darndest and to speak to anyone and everyone. And he has no fear of doing so. He talks about meeting with dictators all the time. And I think that that's something that most people would probably view as crazy, but he doesn't think twice, and he just wants to get down to business and make sure that, things are moving in the right direction, and it doesn't matter who he has to speak to.
And that was Amy Tarkanian, former Nevada Republican state chairwoman, speaking to me earlier.